I bought the first broken Nintendo Switch 2 on eBay just to see if I could fix it. This one's got quite the story. Let's open it up and see how it looks. So I haven't opened this box yet. I just took it out of the package from eBay. And I mean, so far that's pretty good. So the tablet's the main thing we gotta look at here, but I just wanna make sure it's got everything else. Yeah, everything's included. The seller said this Switch 2 went through the washing machine. So I'm expecting some pretty bad liquid damage. No indications of any liquid damage on the outside. I mean, it's nice and clean, probably because it went through the washing machine, but that's good anyway. Okay, let's get it opened up and see what it looks like on the inside. Now, technically, I think Jacob R. did find one on eBay before I found one, but this was the first one I could find. Now, I don't know whether the washing machine this Switch 2 went through was the washing machine that, you know, fills the tub all the way up, or whether it's one that just uses a little tiny bit of water. That might affect how much damage this has inside. I don't know. Hopefully it's one that didn't take much water, and hopefully it was kind of protected in somebody's, you know, jeans pocket or something like that. I do have to say right off the bat, I don't have a whole lot of hope for this just knowing it went through the washing machine, but when I saw it for sale, I had to buy it because I knew it'd make at least an interesting video. And with that back case loose, we can take it off and have a look at the inside to see how bad it is. And this doesn't look damaged at all yet. I do see that the liquid indicator sticker is pink, so that definitely indicates that there's been liquid in here, but let's keep going. If I remember right, I feel like maybe in the listing the seller said that they did take it apart to try and clean it out, so that's probably why it doesn't look very damaged, but we'll see once we get this metal plate off. Okay, now we need to remove these antenna cables from the board. This antenna, and this antenna. Now I need to disconnect this white cable and then deroute this gray one after we remove this antenna. There we go. Now we can remove the 6 screws that hold this metal plate on. Almost ready to see how badly this is damaged. And then we'll disconnect the connector. There we go. And I think I said 6 screws for this plate when there's only 5. My bad. Ah, yeah, we definitely got some corrosion over here and over here. Let's get this battery disconnected first. Out of curiosity, let's see if there's any voltage in the battery. There is 0 volts in the battery. So all of this damage likely drained the battery. So now we need to remove all of this stuff and get the board out so we can inspect it a little closer under a microscope. So we'll start by removing the heat pipe. So we'll take off these 4 screws. Pry up very carefully, just enough to loosen this. It's pretty stuck on there with the thermal paste. There we go. I'm just going to pry very carefully because the heat sink over here has adhesive on it, so it's connected down here with this piece of adhesive tape. Next, the headphone jack. It's great that you just have to remove this 1 screw and then disconnect it, and it just comes right out. There we go. I'm going to use some nice sharp needle nose pliers to remove the speaker connectors. There's one, and then this one. There we go. So I'm seeing these connectors have quite a bit of liquid damage, these 2 anyway. Definitely is probably more, but that's not looking so good. And yeah, that's totally what I expected. Now just disconnecting some more ribbon cables so we can get down to this board. Yeah, a lot of damage there. Now we just have the screws holding the board down, and I think that's it. And now, can we get the board up? Yeah, we can. Should probably disconnect this ribbon cable first, huh? Okay, there we go. Let's have a look at the other side. And not too bad. I do need to remove these metal covers just to look under those. And this is going to be the main place we need to focus and see what components are faulty over here. All right, and now I have all of those covers off. Let's get under the microscope and see how much damage there is here. Yeah, there's a lot of damage right here. And right over here specifically is also a lot. I mean, this is the battery connector that goes right to this component. Not sure what that is, but that's a lot of damage there. Not too bad up here. a little bit over here. The good news is it doesn't look like there's been too much damage under the main chip right here or on these chips over here, so that's great. Got a bunch of damaged chips, damaged connector. All of these are damaged over here. This is not looking good. More, this is actually pretty clean here. Oh, that's not too bad. And then if we flip it over, got a bunch of corrosion down in here. Underneath the main chip looks good also, so that's great news. And oh man, a lot of damage right here. I have to inspect this chip and see if that chip is even good anymore. It looks like, I don't know if those legs are any good. Sometimes they will totally just corrode all the way away. So I think next what do we need to do is give this board a good cleaning with a toothbrush and some isopropyl alcohol. And then we'll see how it looks after that. Yeah, this chip does not look good. I mean, they are cleaning up pretty good. Now, it's not just a matter of clean, though. Once they're clean, then we've got to see which chips have burned out. I'm assuming that some of them have. This is really not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I assumed it would be pretty bad, but I don't know. And even there's a lot of damage on the board, but I don't know. I have a little bit of hope, just, you know, not very much, because that's just a lot of stuff in here that could be bad. So I'm a little worried about this chip as well. Some of these legs have gotten corroded too. Yeah, this, you can see there's two legs that look like they've just been totally corroded and eaten away. We have this one right here and this one right here. Look at that. They're just totally gone. I'm gonna clean that a little bit more, but I'm pretty sure those legs are just completely gone. And there we have it. They're just totally gone. So we definitely need to replace that chip. We have to do some testing around some of these other chips, especially these ones over here. These are some of the most damaged ones. And see if we can figure out if any of these are bad as well. So this is the USB-C controller. This is kind of what I automatically suspect could be a major problem. It's very common that these go bad with the earlier versions of the Switch, so it wouldn't surprise me. This little chip here is called the gas gauge. It tells how much power is in the battery. Here we have the USB power switch and a step-down converter, but what I want to check next are the fuses. So there's one fuse right there by the USB-C port. It's always great when fuses are bad because that's usually a pretty easy fix. And not bad. Let's try the other fuse. This is the fuse for the other USB-C port on the other side of the board. Not bad. Bummer. That would have been an easy fix. Okay, so first let's just see if we have any shorts on the main power rails. Should be this one and this one. Nope. These are the grounds, so that's totally normal. Let's come up here to the USB-C controller. None there. None there. None there. Okay. So that's great news so far. Let's check these guys down here. Nope. So this capacitor has a short on it. I'm not sure where that goes though. Same with this guy. Same with this guy. That one does not. Okay, so that could definitely be a problem. one of the main problems is I have not really messed with these before, so I don't know much about this board. Not shorted there. Okay, we've got a short there. Get this thermal pad up, see what we're dealing with under here. I'm assuming this is normal. That looks really strange though. It looks like a bunch of these pins are soldered together. I don't think they are. I mean, I don't think that's abnormal for this because I can't imagine it would be that way from the factory, but it does look a little suspicious. Okay. So this capacitor shows shorted. Let's check these guys up here. Shorted. Shorted. Nope. So we definitely seem to have a problem up here. That's shorted, and those two are shorted. Now, that all being said, I don't have a board to compare this to yet, so I'm going to tear down a switch to that I got just for this purpose, and then we can compare. So I cleaned this chip up better because this just doesn't seem right to me. But it is like these pins are just totally soldered together, and looking at it, these pins all go to this one pad right here, and then these go to this pad, these to this pad, and these to this pad. So that actually is just fine how that's set up. It just looks funny. That's not a normal thing that I've seen on chips before. So either way though, I need to get this other motherboard out so we can test and see what's normal and what's not. So this is that same area on a board that I know is good. And as you can see, same thing here. All those pins are soldered together. But what we're here to do is see if this capacitor has a short. It does not. Okay. So I think that's the first place to start. I'm guessing this chip probably is bad on the other one, but there could be so many things. So I think the first thing I'm going to actually do is remove this chip and see if those shorts are gone. If they are gone, then I know I need to replace this, or that's likely the problem. There could be something else going on. But if they're still there, then I'm going to put this chip back on, and then we'll probably inject voltage and see what's getting hot. But since it's not hard to replace this chip, and that's likely the problem, I'm just going to start with that. Okay, now we will see if the shorts on these capacitors are gone. Oh, it's not gone. All right, so that chip probably isn't the problem. Bummer. So we'll put that back on and then move on. So I tested against a known good board, and there should be 4 volts right to this capacitor right here. Let's just double check. I can't imagine there is since they're shorted, but let's double check. Yeah, we get 0 volts. Okay, so the next thing we got to figure out is what's generating this voltage and why is it not generating it? Now the 4 volts could simply just be coming from the battery. That's definitely a possibility. It also could be generated from some chip on the board, but given the battery's about 4 volts, I kind of think maybe that's where that's supposed to be generated from. So I'm thinking somewhere between here and the battery connector, there's a short. That's my guess. This is the battery connector right here. So starting here and going to that capacitor. I mean, the first thing is any of these components or even this gas gauge right here could be causing that. I'm thinking what I'm going to do is connect 4 volts to this pin right here and see what gets hot, if anything does. Actually, let's see if this pin is shorted first. Still no short though. Okay, so we have no short on this, so that tells me that likely these components are all good. So this capacitor right here is shorted. And then we also have a short right here on that resistor. So I think we've got multiple things going on here, but this chip, I kind of suspect. I think the first thing we need to do though is put some voltage to this thing and just see if anything gets hot. Okay, all set up. We're gonna inject 1.5 volts into where the 4 volts is supposed to be. See if anything gets hot. Oh yeah, we got something getting hot immediately. One of these guys right over here. I've got to pinpoint it though. Okay, here we go. This should help. Got a different lens on our camera here. Ah, there we go. Okay. This guy right here. That guy right there. Okay, let's figure out what that is. So this chip right here, 7780, seems to be the culprit, at least as far as I can tell. It is possible there's another chip around it that is causing this problem, but I think we need to start by removing this chip and seeing if that short goes away. This chip, I think, is probably a buck converter, which decreases voltage while increasing current. So let's remove it and see if that short goes away. And again, just using a hot air soldering station to heat this thing up till the solder melts, and then we will remove it from the board. It is a BGA chip. BGA stands for ball grid array, which means there's a bunch of little solder balls underneath the chip, and that's how it connects and attaches to the board. Starting to see some bubbling around, so it should be getting close. There we go. And we got a bunch of corrosion right over here. I don't know if that's the only problem, but that's definitely a problem. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Okay, let's see if that got rid of our short. So right up here is one of the places we had a short. And, we still have a short. That's not very good. Let's check down here. Still a short, okay. That's kind of a problem. That means even with that removed, there's still something going on. Although, if you look at those solder balls, a bunch of them have been connected, it looks like. So maybe we need to fix that first. I think when I removed it, I moved it this way. So that probably caused that problem. So what I'm going to do is actually put some flux on here and then reheat this whole thing. See if we can get those bridges to go away. Given the condition of this board, there probably is a lot of other shorts, but I was hoping this would at least take care of that one, but clearly did not. It looks like those bridged solder balls are also on the same line, so I feel like it's probably not going to matter a whole lot. Yeah, they're on the same line, so that's not going to matter at all. Let's inject voltage again and see what happens. Okay, so I have this turned up to 4 volts. That's the voltage that should be on this rail. I was getting basically nothing when I only had it at 1.5. But when we inject 4 volts, we got a little hot spot. If you watch on the thermal cam, right there. Get a little closer and make sure we got the right place. Yeah, right there, which is this guy right here. Right there. Okay, let's see what that is. Okay, and this is the little chip that is showing the short or getting hot. Looks like plus AAL. Is that the only marking on this chip? It looks like it. Okay, well, let's take this one off too. I feel like this chip is probably a similar one to the other one, some sort of buck converter or a little power switch of some sort. This is the problem you get into when you're dealing with liquid damaged devices, is you have one thing that goes bad and there's just another one right behind it. There's just so much damage on these types of boards. But we'll see what happens when we remove this chip. Got to get to the bottom of it at some point. I'm definitely losing faith in being able to fix this one, but I'm going to keep going, remove this, and see what happens. Got some solder bubbling over here, or something bubbling over here, so I know it's getting close to hot enough. Whoop, there we go. Oh, wow. That is crazy. Yeah, look at this. See, this is what happens with BGA chips is the liquid gets underneath and then it just corrodes away. Okay, let's try cleaning that a little bit. Okay, so now with that gone, now let's see if that short is still there. Over here. And still shorted. Ah, that's not good. Boy, that's a bummer. Okay, let's keep going. Let's see what else is shorted on this board. So I tried injecting voltage at the same place on the other side of the board and I couldn't find anything light up. We do have two capacitors right here that also take, these actually take 5 volts, but I'm gonna inject 4 volts and see what we get. And we get an immediately hot spot right next to them. Okay, we got another little black component there. Let's take that off and see what happens. So this is the one that was heating up. Pretty sure that's the exact same type of component as we just took off, but let's take this one off and see what happens. Let's see if this short is gone. This side is ground and should beep. This side should not beep. Hey, that side doesn't beep. Okay. But this guy is still shorted. That's not good. The board is pretty warm, so I'm gonna wait to check that. When it's warm, it's gonna naturally have a lot lower resistance. So let's check this capacitor right here. This one is the one that's consistently been shorted and still shorted. That's a bummer. Okay, let's inject more voltage and see if we can find more things that are shorted. Okay, and applying voltage now, and we've got another hot spot right on this guy right here. Let me show you what that is. And that is one of the things we suspected. That's the gas gauge. I did remove the battery connector just because that's really easy to melt. So let's remove this and see if more shorts go away. I feel like the more shorts we fix, the more there are. Now let's see if we still have shorts. Okay, right up here is where the short was. Still shorted. Let's check down here. Still shorted. Still shorted. Oh my goodness. Okay. More voltage and let's see what happens. So injecting voltage at the same place again. And there's nothing getting hot. Also, my short detector is also not loading down like it does when there's a short, so this is all just residual heat from when I was heating the board, so all of that doesn't matter, but you can see this whole half of the board just stays very cool even with the voltage injected. Let's try the other side again. Okay, injecting voltage here. And same thing. Just nothing getting hot anymore. So I'm just checking for short over here. It looks like that short might be gone. So after all that, we have one short that's gone, but the next problem I just found is this. All of these are shorted, which likely means that these two chips are probably also shorted. So at this point, I think it's easier to find chips that are shorted than aren't shorted. In addition, we still have this audio chip that's got the missing legs. So this board is what they call a rabbit hole. And unfortunately, I'm gonna have to call it unfixable. But I did just buy another Nintendo Switch 2 from Goodwill that's also broken, so I'm hoping maybe we can use this Switch to fix that one. Once I have that video done, I'll put a link for it up on your screen now so you can come hang out with me over there and see if I can fix that one. Thanks so much for watching today, and I hope you have a good one.